All right, guys, few things going on. Ben Askren came out and has not ruled out a return to MMA. Now, by no means was he teasing or flirting or saying I'm coming back. He said, I'm not ruling that out. Now, that's a big change. Back the tape up 5 months, he was done. Ben had to have like a hip surgery. I don't think it was a hip replacement, but it was something with his hip, and it was a big deal. I mean, it ended his career. And he was one of those guys. I appreciated it so much. His career got ended, which would just be devastating. You guys can relate, whatever it is you do, but if outside of your choice, like something medical happens and life as you know it changes, that leads to that's a pretty dark road. I mean, that'll lead a guy right into a depression that he may never come back of. That'll lead a guy right into the bottle. I mean, we see that all the time and halfway understand it. Go, man, that was a life-changing thing. That's going to take some mental toughness. Askren was so lighthearted about it. Yeah, I got to deal with my hip. Never going to do this again. And just moved on. I was on the phone with him. I was talking to him on the phone. I was offering him a match. Submission Underground. I think I wanted him versus Masvidal or him versus Hazmet Chimaev. I can't remember now. It was Askren versus somebody, and he just very nonchalant goes, oh, no, I'll never compete again. I'm just coaching now. My hip's pretty bad. What are you up to? How's the family? Like he just got one of these outlooks. You don't get to be like Ben Askren. You just don't. But he is a very special mind and attitude. And even the retirement that got sprung on was a big deal. And that's why I thought the statement that he may not rule out a return to MMA was a big deal. Not because, oh, great, we get to see Askren again. Where's he fit in? Who's he match up with? It wasn't that at all. It was more on a personal level of, man, that hip must be doing pretty good. He must be very optimistic. The doctor must have done a great job, and he took the time to rehab it. I mean, there must have been something very good. He was funny in this interview as well, if you didn't see it. He said, I would like to come back only because I want something to do to get myself in shape. And he said, I'm not obese yet, but I have not stepped on a scale since the night I fought Masvidal. And I'm not stepping on the scale because I don't want to know what it says. And I would like to have a return to sport as a way of motivating me and getting in shape. And man, I could get that one. My whole life, weighing what you should weigh or fitting into your clothes was never a problem. But I just didn't know that was built around a byproduct of the discipline of being within the sport, of having to make weight X times a year or just, practicing a couple times a day and just the calories you burn versus what you can put in. I didn't know it was that. I thought I had one of those bodies. I thought I was one of those lucky guys that just was going to be lean. I didn't realize it was because I'm working out 4 hours a day. So I just get what Askren means by that. And I was happy to know that his hip was doing well. And he said, for sure, I am returning to wrestling. Now, that part, I didn't know what he meant. Did that mean he was going to return to the wrestling room, to active live workouts? Or did that mean he was going to return to the sport of wrestling? Because he also said next year. Well, next year, and what the hell does that mean? Within a year, or does that mean next year, as in 2021, as in 30 days away? Which the Olympic trials happen to be 75 days away. Am I going down the wrong road? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to return to wrestling was, but overall, it made me smile. It made me feel good because it made me told me that his hip was doing well. Meanwhile, Sean O'Malley got a fight. And the fight was announced, and I don't mean any kind of rudeness, and it's going to be taken as rude to his opponent. I don't know who the opponent was. And I don't mean I didn't know the guy. I didn't even read the name. Whatever article I read didn't include the name. It was like, Sugar Sean comes back and a date. And quite frankly, guys, here's a question for you. Does it matter? Do you overly care? Does it really matter who Sean's going to fight? Sean is a straight-up star. You like that or not like that. You could be on the bandwagon or I hope O'Malley loses. You're going to watch him. Sean's interesting. Sean's fun. Sean's got a great story to tell. And he's got some question marks around him, too. How's that foot? I mean, how is that foot? That looked like a ligament to me. I don't know that he's ever disclosed fully what went on with his leg. To my eyes, it looked like a ligament. And I remember when that happened, the first time I had ever seen it was Michael Chandler. Chandler was fighting my teammate, Brent Primus. And, the foot started to dangle. He had lost control of it. And that did turn out to be a tendon/ligament issue. And I just don't know how you fix those. You break an arm, you get a cast, you hurt your shoulder, you go into the sling, you rest a little bit. I'm saying I don't know. I'm sure medical professionals know. I don't know what it is you do for that. And I think from what I've read, and again, combining it to Chandler, which was a number of years ago, but I remember it happening. It was like a rest and then cross your fingers and hope issue. Chandler didn't get any more assurances from doctors than that. Okay, if you rest it, we believe everything just kind of work itself out. Good luck. We'll see if we're right. And then it did. It ended up that was true, and Chandler could tape it in certain ways and go through practice and go out there and meet the commission rules and compete. I'm just offering for you that Sean's going to have that within his mind somewhere. I mean, he's got a hurdle in front of him just on the psychological side of it, not to mention is his second injury of his young career. So there's a lot of really interesting things around O'Malley. Meanwhile, I should mention for you, and this is a little bit old news, but Curtis Blade's out, COVID, test for COVID, so he's out, wishing Curtis very well. Anthony Smith, Devin Clark get moved up to the main event. Meanwhile, when they get moved up to the main event, this is very relevant to the story, they're now going 5 rounds. Well, to agree to 5 rounds, right? You just agreed to a lot. That's a big, big bone to attack to start with training camp. You're now doing it on less than 24 hours notice. And we've seen some big ball players step in and do this. We saw Ally Aquinas step in against Khabib into a 5-round world title fight main event in his backyard in New York with no preparation. I mean, at least Anthony and Devin, in all fairness, Devin gets credit here too. I'm giving it to Anthony because he's my friend. Devin deserves the same credit. Anthony at least and Devin trained for 3 rounds. So you added 2 rounds. I mean, when Ally Aquina did it, he was at no rounds, added 5 rounds. So we've seen some big ball guys step out there and do some heavy lifting. But when they do it, I feel they deserve credit. And by the way, I don't like that they have to do it. I don't love that rule. And I don't know if I'm against any part of our sport. I've never understood the 5 rounds for a main event. I understood the title fight, but barely. I mean, I understood it because it was unique and different, but I barely understand that. If the sport is 3 rounds, what's it matter when or where you do it? It's 3 rounds. I mean, I only compare that to other sports. Basketball, when you get to the championship game, is not 5 quarters. Football doesn't become 3 halves when you're in the Super Bowl. Every sport is the same, regardless of when you do it. This is one thing we tell kids. We tell kids when they're coming up, don't feel the pressures of the bright lights or the big arena or the people that are watching. Every match is the same. Treat it the same. Doesn't matter where the match is. The rules are the same. The referee's the same. Pull your singlets up, go out there, shake hands, and compete. I mean, this is what we tell guys. And in most sports, it would be true, except this one. We change the rules because you're in a championship match. I've never understood that. Even boxing, who we took our cues from. Boxing, who does everything to hurt its own sport. Boxing doesn't do that. You don't go 18 rounds because you're the title fight as opposed to 12 for the fight that qualified you for the title fight. I only bring that to you because now there's no title. Even if we accept that, okay, title matches are different. Fine. I get it. I don't know why the main events have to do it. And then when a guy accepts it on this short of notice, it seems as though you would make it 3 rounds and no one would know. Like, even if you were attempting to preserve the integrity of the card and of the sport, nobody would know. Nobody's ever going, except me. I'm the only guy that ever brings to you how many rounds this is going to be. And sometimes it even changes my breakdown. There's some athletes that are 3-round guys. They're not going to make it 5 rounds. They're just going to fatigue and fade out. They're just not going to do it. Diaz boys have made a living on 5-round fights. Get guys tired, wear them out, weaponize pace. I mean, it does change the structural breakdown of a fight. But it would seem to me, I mean, look, this is in Las Vegas. If I got a ticket and I bet on one of those guys, and now you just change the rules of the fight, I should be able to bring that ticket back if I wanted to. I mean, the fight is significantly different. 3 rounds versus 5 rounds is significantly different. I have absolutely no point here other than to say I respect it. Dana got in a jam. He turned to his boys. He said, can you step into this fight? And by the way, it happens to be 5 rounds. And they said yes. Good for them.